Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And to finish off the old year, 2018, we're doing the Dionaea house. So, it's New Year's Eve. So
Dawn of the new year.
Yeah, it's the dawn of the new year. It's approaching. So I figured, you know what we haven't done on this show in 4 fucking years? The Dionaea house, which is a proto-Creepypasta. Like, it came out very early on in the history of, like, creepypastas. Like, I think even before that term even existed.
Is there a date for the term?
I believe it's, like, 2006 or 2007.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Future me, if you'd just like to insert a date right now.
Give the cultist a hand. He got something right. Yes, it is 2007.
Thank you. I actually do that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, it's this. Like, just irritated future me voice.
You should do it in, like, Microsoft SAM 2006.
So, before we begin with the Dionaea house, like our rundown and such, I would like to actually go into some factoids about Dionaea house. This is partially based off some reading I did on TV Trope's article of the Dionaea house. It is a virally spread internet story, and like it was a meme, like kind of a medic thing because people like were drawn to it. And it was this internet story that was told from 2004 to 2006 by screenwriter Erik Heisserer. Do you guys know how to say that name?
You'd have to give me the paper, I don't know. Where is it?
It's in bold. Heisserer? Okay.
It's probably not repeated. Like, it is repeated, but you probably don't say
So
it.
it's probably like Heiser?
I don't
Erik
know.
Heiser?
It's good enough for now.
Yeah. Apologies to Erik. I'm done.
You're dumb. We're dumb.
Yes. So it was written by him back in 2004 to 2006. The Dionaea house consists of several stories told in various formats. And again, you can check out the TV Tropes article for information about like
Continuity.
Yeah, the continuity of them, and also some little factoids like about like what tropes are in the story and so with that. If you would like, unfortunately, the main website that was hosting the first story is gone. But thanks to Creepypasta.wikia, it has been saved in the main story has been saved and archived. We are still missing, I think, an ILM message or an AIM
Chat log.
like chat log.
There was, like, I think 2 links that didn't work. The first link didn't work either, where it linked to the first site that he said that he would be keeping track of.
Yeah, which
everything.
was the main site.
Yeah.
This thing. Yeah. I do remember reading it on that original site. It is hella confusing sometimes because it is like... So, the entries were not like in a list like we have it in Creepypasta Wiki. It was each one was an individual page that just had like a kind of almost like a webcomic like arrow like next or back kind of thing they'd go to. And the story itself is done as an epistolary story, which is a story or novel written as a series of documents. The usual format is like letters and diary entries or newspaper clippings. However, more recently, emails, radio entries, blogs have also come into use. So examples of that would be actually Bram Stoker's Dracula is told as a series of letters as well as newspaper articles. And then also Seed Eater Experience is also a good example of this. And Erik basically started his career as a screenwriter with this story, and then optioning it to a studio afterward to see if he could get a movie made, which sadly never actually happened.
Oh.
But there has been some developments later, but we'll get into those a little bit later in our episode. or beyond. And actually, just before we begin again, Erik's filmography, like since this story, he's co-written the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street. He wrote the 2011 Final Destination film, the 2011 The Thing prequel.
I don't like the way that you sighed there.
I don't.
Not a fan.
Too much CGI is really the more. The writing was okay-ish. The CGI, the special effects were what really bothered me.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The Hours, which was written and directed by him in 2013, and Lights Out from 2016. So he's got a fairly decent horror movie like repertoire.
Yeah, it sounds like he's still relatively actively doing it as well.
Yeah. So I guess we'll jump into this with the first story and the main story that kind of came out of this, which was the correspondence of Mark Condry. So this is basically done as an email. Erik, the character, has put up this website to post publicly email correspondence between him and Mark Condry, his friend, for the sake of like their family and friends. That because Mark has gone missing, I think at this point.
And yeah, it's not meant to be publicly. It's there, and he gives people he knows the link, and then they can give it to.
If somebody has the link, they can access it.
Yeah, you can't just Google it.
Except when you type in the Dionaea house, you totally can.
When you can now, in the lore, you can't.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the correspondence started with Mark sending him an email because a friend of theirs from like 5 years prior, when him and a bunch of friends had like basically a game night, and they every like Friday or Saturday.
Andrew,
yeah, Drew. That's what I was going. Yeah, Andrew acted kind of weird, or was kind of an oddball, and Mark's calling, getting back in touch with Erik after 5 years because they kind of just went their separate ways. Everybody did, but Mark got an article from like a newspaper from like Idaho about a shooting in a diner, and Drew was the shooter. He apparently just walked into a diner and just executed this couple before killing himself.
Yeah.
So this starts the investigation by Mark specifically, but kind of drags Erik into this in figuring out what happened to Drew to make him do this, and it kind of starts revolving around a 2-week period when they were part of that gaming group. Where he wasn't able to make it because he had to house watch for his stepdad, who was into real estate, and he had to go house watch this really weird house, this like kind of odd house that he just didn't like, and after like coming back from that, he was just never the same. Like he was almost like he would like constantly repeat things, like almost like basically repeat TV shows and commercials and stuff, and then started repeating people at the game night verbatim. So he just was acting super weird, and then shortly after that, they basically stopped hanging out. And then I guess 5 years later, we had the shooting. So Mark starts investigating, like looking for like where Andrew was around the time of the shooting. Where he's been. Apparently he was like basically renting a place like across multiple states, and then he tracks him back down to Houston, where he finds where his like mom used to live, and then goes to where his stepdad used to work and finds out the address for that house. And all the while we're kind of getting these inklings that like there's something up with this house. And correct me if you guys want to step in, if there's anything I'm leaving out that isn't super necessary.
The most that we get in regards to the house is he's scared of the house and it's cold or something there. I think that's the most.
Yeah, there's weird like cold spells, and like there's just like weird funny things about it. I think also at this point like he's digging into this house, and like we find out that the people they killed were the original residents of the house, and apparently they've been like on the move in an RV basically ever since.
Yeah, this is after Mark gets into investigating all this, and he actually goes to the house and talks to the guy across the street, and that's how he gets the name of the people.
Yeah. And then we get a couple of emails that are like kind of enigmatic. Like he starts, but also like dropping down some creepy creepy information about it. Like he starts talking about the Dionaea plant, which is basically the Venus flytrap, and how he thinks that it's a similar thing to this house. Like starts thinking that the house is actually something else. Like it's not just a house.
He doesn't say that. The lady,
right? The lady does. Yeah, sorry, but he does speculate, like propose that theory, like
that it's
when
like
in a drunken, and he sends this email like one drunken night, basically, like in a motel.
Yeah, it's a huge drunken rant.
Yeah, and then there's a point near the end of the email correspondences where we get basically a text message, like a whole string of text messages that he didn't get until like much later. Which is basically Mark, like he found the house. He's planning on going inside, and then he basically goes inside, and then there's a few other basically it's like chronicling his descent into the house.
Yeah,
and then
he goes in the house, looks around, trying to find stuff. Finds a staircase to go up, even though it's a one-floor house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he goes up, finds a backpack, hears something, leaves.
Well,
that's essentially what happens.
He doesn't leave. He finds the backpack, and then the next thing he says is the door is open, and then that's the last we ever hear of Mark.
Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he never got out of the house.
Yeah.
And then, basically after these correspondence, Erik relays back some information that he's found. Erik gets a delivery, and it's a newspaper article of human bones that were found outside of a house, like on a street.
I think it was a delivery.
I thought, was it? I thought it was in like a mailbox. Like I thought it was like.
I don't think so.
I thought it was an actual letter kind of thing.
Because it shows his response.
Okay,
that he copy pasted.
Fair enough. Then yeah, but he gets the article.
Yeah,
like, he does get the article of human remains found outside of us on a street outside of this house in Houston. And he's just like, yeah, no, I'm not falling for it. This is bait. This is clearly whatever this house is or whatever's going on is trying to get me there. Fuck this. It's not going to work. And that's kind of where like the main like correspondence and all that end. But then we get an update a few months later, where apparently he didn't expect this entire string of the string of correspondences to go viral, and like people have been emailing them with similar situations or new leads about the house and stuff like that, and he's also talking to Jane, who is Mark's wife, right? Jen. Sorry, it's been about a half a week since I read the story. So, and he's getting kind of his wife Connie is kind of getting suspicious, even though he's just talking about like his missing friend. And he leaves a few links in the next couple of updates regarding some information that some other basically plot threads. Going to this, and the first one of which is called Adventures in Babysitting, and it's a live journal or a blog entry series of basically a week and a half or so, chronicling this girl's new babysitting job in one of the houses, or in a house very similar to the one that they're dealing with.
It's 10 days.
10 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just figured.
So, but. Well, guys, we'll go into before we continue that part. Do we want to continue? Do we have any notes on the story up to this point?
Probably.
Okay. Do we want to tackle that now?
Yeah, we can kind of separate them if you want.
Yeah, because the main story kind of ends shortly before that. We get those updates. It's still going on, but there's breaks in it basically. So, all right. So we'll go into, I guess, grammar inquisitions. Although I don't really have anything, because as I was reading, it's email correspondences and blog entries and some of that, and it's like I'm just going to read the story and just get the plot information, or like based on do my actual thoughts and not bother with spelling. But do you guys have anything for grammar positions?
Yes.
How many front butts?
Well, I only did one. And then I stopped for some reason.
You stopped because probably the same reason I did.
But before that,
Okay. Mikey, these stands for evil.
here is the quote. From there, maybe, I can find stepdad and the house.
Yeah.
Probably should be find his stepdad.
Or the
Probably.
stepdad, or...
Yeah.
Well,
At this point, you could just be referring to him by name as stepdad because he doesn't know his name.
well, exactly that too.
But probably not.
Yeah.
Front butt.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll just kind of.
It wouldn't be recording. If
There
it wasn't
are
a front
many.
butt.
There are many like spelling issues with these stories, but
Yeah.
that's
Honestly, there weren't.
really
I didn't see that many.
okay. I just kind of, bear in mind, I wasn't really like looking for them at basically from day one. So I just kind of assumed like they're probably going to be because I'm sure my co-hosts are going to find some. But you were actually looking and didn't find it much.
Well, at least nothing jumped out at me.
Okay.
Nothing. One thing made me stumble
Okay.
to the point that I wrote it down.
I actually did. I do have one grammar inquisition. I think in one of the other stories, and it's just like a spelling issue, but that's about it. But anyway, sorry, Mike.
Jenny is worried about me. She'd rather I stay and pretend the police will figure this out on their own. But I have to go down there, Erik.
But he has to go down there, Erik. Yeah, I know.
I don't understand what the problem is.
It's because the butt is its own sentence.
Right, that's a front butt.
Oh, really? Is
That's
it like
front
button period or is it?
It's period.
It's period butt.
Okay. I mean, like it is.
However,
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like you're like typing up like email correspondence. I do emails a lot nowadays, and it's like, yeah, like I do try to keep things, but there's always room for typos.
yeah.
Or poor writing. But yeah. But yeah.
Alright, and then I have a couple front ends that I noticed. Which is also part of an actual thought. So do you want me to save that for actual thought?
Yeah, save that for the actual thought, I'd say.
Alright. That looks like it.
Okay. Gamer.
Suppose it's on to me. With my one grammar-related discrepancy, I've written down for this first part. So I don't recall how early or late on it is, but it's at 9/10/2004.
Yeah, that's actually like
That's how I've been sectioning everything out.
Same.
I probably should have copied down way more of the quote, but either way, this person, whoever it is, I don't remember, says, "I can see it in my head so clearly." And the reason I wrote this down is the reason I wrote it down is because it is, I can see it in my head, comma, so clearly. So the comma, to me, made it sound like he's about to continue with what he's saying. So it made it seem like, to me, that he was saying, I can see it in my head so clearly, ellipses, it must have happened. That kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean...
Meanwhile, what was meant was, I could see it in my head so clearly.
Yeah. But he's also, like, breaking it up because he's, like, disjointed, like, thought process as he's typing.
As he's typing?
Well, no, I actually have those sometimes. Like, I'll, like, type on, like, a Discord or, like, a Skype and stuff like that, and I will, like, type in, like, a first thing, and then I'll, like, think of it, and then, like, do ... and then type in some more, and, like, but it'll only be, like, a small, like, sentence.
But I'm saying ... would work better than
Yeah, that's true, yeah. No, that works, yeah.
Because, just to me, it made it sound like it was something completely different. Like, I was expecting him to continue, and he didn't.
Fair enough.
And that's all I had as a discrepancy.
Yeah, they're, like...
Because I didn't really see any problems.
Yeah.
That's the only thing where I'm like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because everything else is pretty well written.
All right. Well, it's almost as if this guy was a starting off screenwriter.
Weird, right?
All right, so we'll go into actual thoughts now for the correspondence of Mark Condry. And I'm going to start with 10/7/2004 with a quote. I made this site because it's the most efficient way to share Mark's emails with all of you. I'm not advertising this to anyone, but I do think it would be wise to pass this URL along to anyone who may help with the investigation. It seems odd to me that this guy would set up a straight website for this whole matter, which is now gone, by the way, as we mentioned earlier, and can only be located through archive sites. When a blog site would have also sufficed, because I'm pretty sure you can also private up blogs, but
I mean, you say that,
and
but
he uses blogs later on.
You say that, but I've made a website for my dad to put pictures of the crap he's selling on,
okay,
so he can link it to people.
I may just be ignorant. In this case, then I may just be ignorant. But it just seems like when I was reading, I was like, why didn't you just use a blog for this?
The reasoning is because he wants it to look more professional. So basically, he's putting it on his resume that I want to be a screenwriter. Look what I've done.
Look what I've made. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, look what I put so much work into. I also just kind of wish that you'd keep he is still, as far as I know, up until at least 2016 or something like that. He is still this is still his baby, but the hosting site but the website is down.
So he killed his baby. Or his baby got too old. It's almost a teenager.
Yeah, he threw it out the house. Made pay for its own bills. And then they got destitute and is now homeless.
Wow.
It's now hostless.
Aww.
It's a shame this wasn't our Hobo-vember episode. We're tied in so well.
That's true, yeah.
Okay. I see what you're throwing down.
Wait, you say it's dead, but it's not. We just read it.
I mean, it is dead, but only through the grace of archived sites.
Yeah.
And who knows it'll stay there because the Creepypasta.wiki's new, or not Creepypasta.wiki's, but the Wikia's new rules for archiving and stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows if they'll stay there? But or at the very least, maybe I don't know. I guess I just wish it this piece of spooky internet history had not the main story of it wasn't just gone, or
in the original format that you saw back in the day. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Are you able to replicate that on Creepypasta?
But you could probably hunt down the URL and go to archive.org because archive.org saves everybody's website. And
really?
From when it was started till it existed, till the end, till it stopped existing.
Where does all that information stay?
Servers in San Francisco.
They just save everything.
Yes, archive.org.
Everything on the internet.
Archive.org is committed to saving everything they can off the internet.
Damn.
They are the ultimate archivists.
I remember when you could download the entire internet.
Sure you could.
Yeah, there was a zip file you could download the entire internet.
Was it just titled The Entire Internet?
I can't remember, but it was there, and it was something like a gig or something.
Wow.
But it was
updates to Warframe are bigger than that now. Jeez.
Alright. So, can I...
yeah.
Okay. Alright.
No, we're about to start talking about Warframe now.
No! So, this is 9/8/2004. Yes, that makes sense. I was like...
Did you go back in time?
No, because I didn't realize the 10 is actually the day, not the month. It's gotta get back in time. Anyways, I hadn't really seen or thought about Andrew since he stopped showing up for game night. And that was 5 years ago. That was about the time when we all went our own ways, back in 1999. Why do all these creepy things start back in 1999? Okay. Two things thus far that I know of have started in 1999. But still!
Because it's the Y2K situation and everything is about to be fucked.
I guess.
The potential of all the weirdness.
Also, I'm not going to lie, this story did kind of touch me in an inappropriate space. With regards to, them being, having their, having their game night and then,
Friday
Friday night games and, and then like them going their separate ways. So that it's a little too like this is just a personal thing. It's a little close to home,
Especially when you were reading this when I had to take a break for a week.
yeah. So you have to take a breather.
Yeah.
Shit. I was like, you just come back and it's like the door is open. The door is open. The door.
Yeah.
I've always had a second floor. On
No, my house has always been one floor.
Yes.
Did that freak you out?
A little bit. And then the next quote I have is actually the article entry of the gunman. So,
If I'll stop you there,
Oh, sure.
because you tied into my one actual thought. He's remembering things from 5 years ago.
yeah, that's
In
the thing that
crystal
happens.
clear
Dude,
clarity.
It's a common thing that people do in stories.
Okay, what part of the remembering are we remembering here? What are you referencing?
Well, basically, just remembering Andrew in general.
He's going on about your tried, tested theory. I don't know, it might be accurate or not, I don't know. About false memories. Right?
Yeah, false memories and the fact that it's 5 years ago.
Hence why he didn't remember everything immediately.
Like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't I'll just remember everything. It does actually happen kind of in a gradual state.
And they have to like talk to each other to fully remember it.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're wrong, because, like, again, like, false memories are a thing. Like, you definitely remember things differently.
But when one person recalled something, the other person was like, oh yeah, I remember that too. So then that memory is correct, because two people remember it.
Yeah, but then there's still remembering things from 5 years ago. Do you remember things from 5 years ago?
I don't remember things from yesterday.
Exactly.
I do, but...
In vivid detail?
This day, 5 years ago, what happened?
Oh, fuck. Well, not, like, exact days, but I remember events, like, that happened in my life.
But yeah, that's the thing, though. This was a huge event to them.
Yeah, like, this secretly trauma... Like, they never addressed it, but this apparently traumatized them all.
And this is the day that their entire gaming group broke up, and all of their friends broke up, and all went separate ways. It was a big event.
Because one of their friends was acting weird, and then just vanished, basically.
If it was like one... Okay, let's say they gamed for 10 years, and then 5 years in, that one friend acted weird and left, and then they continued gaming for 5 years. That would be harder to remember,
But
because it would be random in there.
But this tore apart, basically, their friendship.
Well, no, they all just moved away.
That's what I mean.
Really. Just a lot of things happened on this one day.
Yeah.
To the point that it is memorable. To a point.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I remember, like, even, like, later on in the episode, in the entries, he's, like, trying to recall, like, because he was never the one that drew out to his
Yeah.
So he, like, basically spent hours, like, when he finally went down to Houston, he spent hours looking for the place, trying to retrace, like, steps from 5 years ago. So, like, it is brought up, his memory isn't, like, it's not that he's remembering, like, vividly. He's remembering it in fragments and trying to add in the details.
Yeah.
So...
It did kind of seem like he found the house a little easy.
I mean,
Yeah.
The entire part.
He says that, but, like, at the same time, like, he did spend some hours doing it. Like, he does say that in the story.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, 5 years. A lot can change in 5 years.
A lot did happen, but...
Especially in a spot that you've been to once.
Okay, fair enough.
If I were to tell you to go out to a town that I used to live in and say, oh yeah, just go beside the subway.
And the subway's gone.
No, the subway has moved.
Yeah, okay, fair
It's
enough.
in a different part of town.
So now you think, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, he's also doing investigative work. He's also, like, looking into those, in, like, the details, like, if something did happen like that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, I can see both sides. I can see why, like, also from a narrative point of view, like, we need to get the plot points. But at the same time, like, realistically, yes. Like, sometimes false memories are a thing, and, like, you wouldn't recall everything crystal clear.
I just think in that one scenario where he had to find the apartment, I think a couple of days worth of looking was better, not a couple of hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could have been, like, maybe, like, a new entry, basically. And then he's like, I found it, like, after, like, 2 or 3 days, I finally found the apartment.
Or, like, he can't find it, and then Eric's like, I think I remember him saying he was on Poop Street.
Yeah, I think Travis says...
I can't, that's the first word that came to my mind. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's something just to trigger a memory. And he's like, oh yeah, it's over here. And
okay. Yeah, fair enough.
But that's the one instance where I'm like, that was a little quick.
Yeah.
Everything else, it was slow enough. Again, it could have always been slower, but do you want to read more? There's already a lot to take in.
It's actually not that big. I was surprised, actually, how short this one was. I remember this being a lot longer, but maybe because there were just so many slides, basically. Yeah. But I Google Doc'd all this without formatting.
Yeah.
And basically get formatting everything to universal. It's all basically as it was pulled from the Tumblrs or from the blogs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's basically 58 pages. Yeah. And that's all for blog entry, or blogs. Mm-hmm. So. The main story itself, I think, is only 28 pages, and then each other one is basically another 5 or 10.
Yeah.
So, all right. So can I?
Yep, you can continue.
All right. So, I think based on my notes here, this is also from 9/8/2004, the same article. Mm-hmm. Gunman shoots 2, kills self in Boise. In Boise restaurant. Sorry, I misread Boise. I thought it was Boise. Boise. It's Boise.
Yeah.
In Boise restaurant. Diners at the roadside breakfast cafe on Interstate 84 fled to the parking lot in a panic yesterday afternoon when a man entered and began shooting patrons inside, killing 2. The couple, John and Lucy Madsen, were having lunch when 26-year-old Andrew Hughes entered, wielding a Smith & Wesson .59 pistol, according to police. Witnesses claim the perpetrator was muttering to himself as he approached the smoking section and opened fire into the first occupied booth, fatally wounding the Madsens. Soon after, he turned the weapon on himself. All 3 were taken by paramedics to St. Alphonsus Regional Medical Center, where John Madsen and the shooter were pronounced dead. Lucy Madsen, 37, remained in critical condition for several hours, but did not survive the night. Police are investigating Hughes' work and personal background, but as of this morning, a motive for the attack is unknown. And this is how you create an article for a paper. Just based on some... It's actually very accurate to what I've read in papers.
Would they say the names like that, though? Just outright throw them out there?
If the police gave the names, yes.
And would they state the exact make and model of gun used?
Yes. They would describe the gun.
All right. Just checking.
All right. Well done.
As somebody who has recently been reading a lot of shootings lately...
Yeah.
God damn, this is a nightmare year. This has been a nightmare year. This article's fairly accurate to what an actual article would sound like.
Nice.
And I'm just saying this in regards because we have had a couple of articles done up in the past where there's that's not how an article works.
For this one, you couldn't find a flaw with it.
Pretty much, it basically it read like a decent like an actual article.
Yeah, I was just concerned. The only thing I thought when I was reading that is I didn't know that they would give away personal information with names like that.
Yeah, the only time they won't, they generally don't the newspapers don't release that is because if they basically
it would normally just be a 23-year-old man shot to...
Yeah, no, they will say the killer's name.
Well, the killer, yeah, but not necessarily the victims.
If the police have released the names, they will.
Oh, okay.
So unless there's something that we're not reading where the police did not release the names, then that's not true. But you can kind of infer that this was probably written a little bit at a point where they did release the names.
Yeah, the shooting didn't happen that day, and this is the news on it.
Yeah, no, they're straight. Especially if it had been a mass shoot, multiple, not just 2, then they may not have released all the names, or they may not have said all the names. But generally, shooting reports will say the victims' names as well as the killers.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm good.
So next one is 9/10/2004. 2014. Wow, 9/10/2004. He usually just stayed at his mom's apartment, But that year, he was asked to mind that house his stepdad owned. The one in that old, rich subdivision west of Houston.
Sugarland.
Damn it.
It isn't Sugarland.
Maybe the guy had a bunch of houses. He was big on real estate, wasn't he? You know, I do actually really like the fact that there's a real estate agent connection to this, because it's logical that and makes sense that a real estate agent would have connections to to a creepy supernatural house.
Yeah.
And even though, and especially given the entity's gimmick, which is to be a mundane, abandoned house or a house for rent or a house for sale kind of thing. That's really my only comment about that. Is just I really enjoyed the fact that we had there was a logical step in investigating who was connected to that house. Is that it was a real estate agent?
Yeah. At this point, it just feels like it's a haunted house, though.
Yeah. At this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have at 9/12/2004. I think Andrew was afraid of that house for a reason. Whatever that reason was, during those 10 nights, something emptied him, gutted Andrew like a fish. It yanked out whatever he was inside, or shocked him into forgetting it all. He was hollowed out. As much as I like this idea, at this point, where is this coming from? I guess the previous memories of Andrew's actions and presence, this is basically after they recall how he was before when he showed up again.
Yeah.
And presence after getting back from the creepy house, could have shaken Mark to jump to some conclusions. Just sort of, for me, I guess this felt like it was kind of a little out of left field, or there's a little too much jumping distance to get to this point.
Well, he's trying to describe how that person was. It felt like there was nothing left of the actual person anymore.
Yeah. And
it was just someone else.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It just seemed
he's just describing it very colorfully.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, no, and I don't mind. It's just it just seemed at this point in the story, it just seemed like he was jumping to a real we were already jumping to a big conclusion, a conclusion that we all kind of see coming, or that's interesting and is good for the plot and eventually pays out. But it just seemed at this point why would a logical human being jump to that conclusion so fast?
It is the first time where, because up to that point he's been talking relatively normally, and then it gets so dark temporarily with this. But yeah.
And then we have 9/16/2004. Kurt's clients didn't live there that much longer. They had all sorts of problems in the house, electrical, heating, and that sort of thing. They moved out, left most of their furniture behind, he said. Packed into a big RV one day and just drove off. He still remembers their names. John and Lucy Madison. Dun, dun, dun. Well, at least from earlier.
Well, it's Madison.
Yeah.
You said Madison.
Yeah, and this is the... Madison, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
That was the dead situation.
Yeah, I sort of saw this coming.
Did you?
In inklings, that the Madsons were the ones that owned the house. The ones who were murdered in the diner were the ones that... But it came out in inklings. I was starting to get did the Madsons own the house? Kind of thing.
I didn't see it coming at all. As soon as it's the Madsons, oh, that's why they were the murdered in the...
Okay. Maybe I'm just a little bit more genre savvy. I don't know. It just seemed why else would he shoot? Why would he shoot two randos?
Well, that's why we're reading the story to find out why he shot them.
Yeah, exactly.
And the way that the article is laid out, it almost sounds like he walked in and shot the first two people in the smoking section.
Yeah, exactly. Because to the outside of, because again, that's also how you do a news article for a story, is that you don't try to lead it to an opinion for the story. You try and treat it as if you're an outside observer. Because the person writing it doesn't know why they got shot. All they know is this person walked up and shot the first people in the smoking section. Yeah, but then when Mark finally finds out who the owners of the house were, it's the Madsons. Duh. And again, between that article, the shooting, and between this point, I did kind of get some inklings were the Madsons were the Madsons the owners of the house, or are they getting into the house? But again,
Maybe
that
you're
could also-
smarter than me. I have no idea how you came
It
to that
could be.
conclusion.
It could be like that. I'm more genre savvy. Like I have read and watched a lot of horror movies, so I can kind of like see what's coming. It could also be that I'm remembering when I first read this, like 5 years ago.
possibly,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was like before I read this before we started Al Dente, and like it's popped up a couple more times since then. Like people, a couple of friends who know the show have asked me to do it, and we've never gotten around to it. But yeah, the connection it's not too obvious, but it is a nice like revelation for the like the connection there.
Did you get revelated there, Mikey?
Yeah.
Did you see it coming too?
Well, it was just like, well, one of those things where I read it over a few days. So
Yeah.
I read that and was like, there's something with them. Then I had to go back. It's like, all right, they're the ones that were killed. Yep.
That makes sense now. So it wasn't so much a revelation, it's like, moving on.
Why are you name dropping these people? Scroll back. Oh, it's them. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That might be a thing about like distance between events. All right, and the next one is 9/18/2004. Really sorry to hear about Connie. Any idea what it is yet? Food poisoning? Something else? What did the doctor say? For me, okay, at this point, as I was reading, it's like this is somewhat foreboding. I think, like she was sick the day he was asked to go investigate with Mark and on this whole thing. Like he was going to go out and like accompany Mark out to Houston, and then his wife got sick. It's like, is the house doing something like there? Is the house maybe the house like preventing him from like from going there to like isolate him and stuff? And actually, then I have here later on that I'm charging everything to my Visa, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay it off. My watch stopped working yesterday. I just got this weird ringing in my right ear. It comes and goes, annoying as hell. And then for me, like just personally, this is brought up again a little bit more. But at this point in time, at the point of me like writing down this note, I'm getting this vibe that the creature / house is able to like psychically attack people or like monitor people, and maybe even observe them. Yeah, like observe them from a distance. Hence why Connie gets sick and why Mark is starting to feel weird. It's trying to isolate its prey as they get closer to the mouth. Like just kind of a theory. As I was going, because again, like I'm kind of walked into this. Like I've read it before. I know the Dionaea house is a monster house. So like, is it psychically?
Spoilers.
We
We literally have not gotten to that yet.
And so like is it at this point it just got my mind going. It's like, is it like keeping tabs on everybody and like just like, all right, so this guy's gonna go join his friend. Well, I can't have that happen, so I'm gonna isolate them. So like you have to go watch. Like I'm gonna make your wife sick, so you have to watch her, allowing Mark to have to do this alone.
But why didn't he? At that point, why didn't he just choose to make Erik sick himself?
That's true.
Then
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to think as
Well, because it might be a little bit less. I don't know. It might be a little bit less obvious to the reader to make Erik sick than to make Connie sick. Because Connie's thing could be like is actually. I'll fully admit, like Connie's being sick at this point could just be coincidence.
It is coincidence. You're reading too much into it.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what I do, and that's what I like to do.
But
it's a reason that he can't help his friend.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is based on one of the other sections that it has two people going in.
Yeah, well, yeah. Not Mark. Erik and his random friend. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to it next.
Yeah.
The next time we do this.
So that gets rid of your isolation theory.
Like it's not just.
I guess at this point though, I was starting to think is it trying to isolate the prey? But anyway,
Well, because if Erik did go to help Mark, the story would be over.
Yeah.
A lot quicker.
yeah, because he'd be gone. He'd be dead. So yeah, I guess like at this point, yeah, it could be more interpreted than it's just like
It's a plot reason.
a plot hole, like basically not a plot hole, but it's a plot contrivance so that Erik can't go with his friend. Like it's like why horror movies like let's split up, gang. All right, so moving on to 9/21/2004, and this is this is basically the text messages that he was getting, but this is like basically the final one. And then basically no subject. The door is open. So we as he was chronicling through his travel through into the house and then going up that staircase, and then the last message we get from him is just the door is open in all caps. And for me, at this point, I really enjoyed this that portion of all the text messages. I couldn't read it with any more with more interest if I tried. It was I was really kind of into those text messages.
Yeah.
And I think that a part of that is because of the build-up and investigation that led up to it. All the emails, correspondence we got that built up this slow burn or slowish burn investigation of what the why their friend went missing, why their friend went nuts, solely the connection with this house and stuff like that. And poor Mark has been hunting for the truth throughout all this narrative, and relating findings to this other person that's the only person that you can actually contact about it. And then we get at these last moments before he is taken / consumed by the monster. To me, it's a true blue Lovecraftian horror investigation story, where the investigation leads basically into the character's doom.
Here's the thing, though. This is the second time this has happened. I'm curious if you're you preemptively knowing this story is tainting how you're seeing this, because when I saw those texts, I didn't see the end of that being him being consumed.
Really?
That's the first time the door is open has been ever uttered.
Yeah.
So to me, he's looking around to leave, and it's the door's open, as in I'm getting out.
Oh, you thought it was just
yeah, he was getting out of there. That's the way it came off.
But wasn't the doors open mentioned by Andrew?
Yeah. He was his mother. He in the email correspondent when he talks to the journalist or the police officer, they mentioned the thing that he was muttering that wasn't brought up in the article because it was kind of superfluous. But he was basically saying the door is open, the door is open, the door.
Was that before that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even if it was, it's still it makes sense. It's not something that would be unheard of him to say in that situation because he's trying to get out of the house.
I guess you take it that way. I'm not going to take it that way at all.
It's not something so strange that it stands out in that situation.
I don't know, man.
So I didn't catch it.
No, I understand. I see where you're coming from. He just escaped. It was but then even afterward, the article that comes to Erik and it's bones found on the streets. Well, Mark's dead.
I didn't know that would be Mark.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I just
there was no
read a little bit too much. Maybe it's because I read a lot into things rather than take them at their surface
maybe.
value.
And I'm sure right after that it went on saying that Mark didn't return. So at that point, I'm okay, something in the house got him. But at the point of it saying the door's open, I didn't know.
Yeah,
especially because everything was already in all caps anyway, so it's not like he was typing it weird.
Yeah,
it was all exactly the same. So
yeah. I don't know. And again, it has been almost 5 years since I read this story, so maybe I had some kind of connective tissue to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And again, it is also kind of this does very much feel like a horror movie kind of genre-esque plotline. And like I said, it feels to me this whole thing has felt like kind of the investigation in a Call of Cthulhu scenario or even story.
Yeah.
So that whole the investigators basically following the clues all the way into the mouth of the monster.
Pretty much, yeah. And the other way to think of it is I read all of this cramming it in a single session.
Yeah.
I just sat down and read it for 7 hours.
Jesus.
So I'm sure I'm missing a few things because of that.
Yeah. I definitely read I read the first part last week. This first part and then Adventures in Babysitting, and then I took a break of at least 3 days before I went on and finished the rest of the stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just kind of what I got out of it. I just really enjoyed that part, and the whole lead up to it and such. And then my last actual thought, if you guys can believe it, for this part, 10/01/2004. It stops here, and this is basically the end of the story for me. As far as I'm concerned, this is the end of story one. When he got the newspaper article of his friend's bones on the street, or presumably his friend's bones
random bones on the street.
Yeah, the same thing that pulled Mark in, which was an article of something horrific. I was like, this is the end of story 1, and honestly, I feel like it could have ended right there with him just not falling for the bait. And I personally would be okay with that if it did. It seems like a good place to end before you muddle things too much with any plot holes or story bloat. That said, there is still a bunch of unanswered questions, but at this point, the character of Erik knows something is up and is out there and trying to lure him in, and he's not going to follow her. He's not going to play its game. He's playing it smart. So he just kind of ignores that thing. To me, it was a very competent, it could have been a competent ending. There's some unanswered questions, but the character is logically saying, no, fuck this, I'm not going near it.
Yeah.
That said, we continue going because...
And he goes near it.
Because we do get, kind of a little, not story bloat, but we do get a continuation of the story because the story up to this point has gone viral, in real time. And so... people are starting, and he adds on to that, whereas he's starting to get information about the house, and now he's kind of getting pulled in through a different way, basically. But that is my actual thoughts for the Correspondence of Mark Condry. Mikey, E stands for evil. What's you got?
Alright, so one of the issues I had was potentially a non-issue. I don't know how they deal with it in the States. But it's when he's at the hospital and they just give out the dead on arrival information.
Didn't he have to basically not bribe a guy, but he basically had he got one of the new interns to do stuff? No? Okay.
No, this is where he goes to the hospital, he asks for it, they direct him to ER, and they just plainly give it to him.
Yes, on the phone.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Wait, wasn't he there at the hospital, or on the phone?
I don't think so. I think he's on the phone. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they straight up told him.
Yeah.
The second time someone talked to the hospital, they had to really get angry at the person to get the names of the archers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time, it was really easy.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it's also you're saying that it's a friend of yours, and how would you know their specific name?
Yeah, it's you could. There's subterfuge, basically. It's not even narratively. That's just something that somebody could feasibly do in the real world. Even is just say that your friends. If you have the information, they're going to assume not the worst in people that you're trying to do something skeevy, or you're trying to get information the wrong way. They're going to assume that you are actually a friend because have all this information about it. You might be somebody who has just read a bunch of articles about it and are just trying to dig up some information about it for some reason. But
well, the thing is, a lot of information from a hospital is locked behind next of kin.
Yeah,
you
but
can't.
If Andrew doesn't have any next of kin and they're aware of that, kind of, it is a little bit of it's a gray area to me.
Yeah, it is gray, but it just struck me as wow, they gave that away way too quickly.
Again, though, without us having a situation where we ourselves in the real world would have to ask for that information, we don't know whether or not that is actually normal.
A week later, it's I just go over to the hospital. It's hey, can I just have
some random person.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
just to prove a theory. Of
yeah,
this.
Totally.
Yeah, that you read about it in the newspaper.
I'm just actively now looking for shootings in the local area.
Or the not asshole way is just find someone who's a nurse or a doctor and ask them.
You and your logic.
I know, right? It's weird.
And the other thought I have is that these friends are horrible.
The game night, the game they kind of are. They kind of dicks.
Andrew arrives. He's acting weird.
Yeah,
a lot weirder than normal.
And he was kind of weird to begin. And they kind of didn't entirely like him to begin with.
Well,
he's kind of like that, not slow friend, but he's kind of like that weird friend.
Yeah, he was the weird one, but they liked that he liked being there.
Yeah, he was okay. They are friends. They're just not deep friends. They're not good friends. They're just friends.
Yeah, and they did nothing.
No, they really didn't. And I think primarily like again, some subtext of it. I think they were just scared of what was going on. Like they weren't sure what to do. They didn't know how to react. They were dumb kids because like.
Do we know the year that happened?
1999.
Yeah, because that was 5 years ago. Remember?
So
And how old are they now? They're old enough to be married.
I'm assuming it was 1999, and they're playing their game night isn't like D&D or anything like that. It's I think it's like they mentioned poker and like some board games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like poker night and stuff of that. So I'm thinking and like it's 2004, so 5 years later, and one of them's like in an office like an office and stuff, and like a couple of them are married. So I'm thinking like, oh yeah, it even says this in the article. The newspaper article. It says
20-something?
26. So he's
21 then.
So they're in their like early 20s when they were gaming and some of that. And
So they're old enough that they can be like, you okay?
yeah.
And there's another issue. Like, they just go their separate ways after this.
Yeah, because it freaked them out, or like, and they didn't want to talk about it, basically.
And up until that point, they're good-ish friends.
And they
all just leave and get married.
Well, a couple
but
of
they don't invite them to the.
Hey, you know what? Actually, I have a good example of that. One of my good friends through high school and later, he moved out of our neighborhood here, like a few years after that, after high school, and I was never invited to his wedding. My parents were invited to his wedding. I was not.
Wow.
Yeah, but so that does actually happen. Like you move away, like. And like sometimes you move away like for other like because life happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
For all we know,
and you lose touch. So
for all we know, they were all planning to move away anyways, and it's just this weird thing happened to happen
around the
right
same time.
when they were about to go.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 weeks before they all left or something like that.
No, it was a few weeks. Like, I mean, it wasn't. They didn't really specify a time. Like when they said a few weeks afterward, their game group basically fell apart.
Yeah, so that wasn't the day they all broke up. Just within a couple of weeks, they all ended up moving away, and shit happened.
Exactly. Like life basically took over after that.
Yeah,
and they didn't feel much inclination to like talk or connect. Honestly, a sad thing is that kind of happens in real life. Like that's happened to me.
Yeah,
that's happened to me more than once, and I feel I hate it. But like, it's just a shit that happens. Like, for me, it's like if I have a hard time remembering people like if they're not like on like a usual basis there like or like I was like, oh shit, I haven't talked to that person in like fucking years. I gotta see if I can find them again. And then I'm like, do I bother because it's been years since I've talked to them? Like, yeah, it's that kind of situation is very, to me, that seemed very realistic.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's a shitty deal, but it's a thing.
Yeah. That's just life.
Yeah.
In the wise words of Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
Yes,
wise.
indeed, quite.
Not really, but okay. How you hanging in there, audience? Are you drinking alcohol this time, at this point?
Why?
Because it's New Year's.
Oh, yeah, fair.
It is New Year's Eve.
Right, it is. Where's our alcohol?
Yeah,
I guess.
Thanks. Some New Year's party this is.
We're sitting in. Everybody else is having parties. We're just sitting here on a couch talking about a creepy story.
Yo.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, my next thought is in regards to Mark going to find the subdivision and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, the whole 5-year memory thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's, like, I can remember where my friends used to live.
Yeah.
But if you had a friend who didn't like going to his stepfather's house,
Yeah.
so there's like next to no reason why you would ever go there,
Or even talk about it.
or even talk about it, how would you remember where that one place is if you've been there maybe once?
He was there once, but he also went to the real estate agent and got the information from them.
Yeah, that's where he got the information for
Yeah.
that. He tracked down the house, as in his mother's house, not the stepfather's house.
Yeah.
And again, hours of driving down streets looking for that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, the memory thing, like going from memory.
Yeah, but also, like, it's kind of brushed over But for all we know, he knew that it was an apartment complex. So he could have went in one, talked to the
landlord or the landlord or landlady.
Yeah, the receptionist would be like, has this person ever been there? No, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been going door to door, for all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the friend that went to the house to pick him up that one time was Travis.
Yeah.
So,
But he also was there, like, he remembered going once there, too. Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of curious, what the fuck happened to Travis and the other guy? They just kind of vanished.
Travis and Dave.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Travis and Dave.
Yeah, they're never mentioned. Yeah, they were mentioned a couple times, but
were they just eaten like off screen? Were they just off screen?
They never responded. Yeah,
because they completely lost touch with them. It's like, did they just get off screen to death?
Yeah, because
did Erik get them first?
I believe Erik emailed them. Oh, and Mark as well, like trying to get in contact with them, and they just nothing happened.
Yeah, they never found them. Mm-hmm. So I guess if like the series ever continues, it might be like if Travis and Dave were not just killed off, Erik Heisserer can just like basically have Travis or Dave show up and like try to figure this stuff out because like some extra content. Or again, they could have just been off screen by Erik like in those 5 years,
possibly.
Or they could have just they got away.
Yep.
Alright. And at one point, I was just like, Erik, be the good friend. Tell him Mark he's off his noggin.
Yeah. Tell him to chill out. It's some prank. Just don't do this. Don't spend hundreds of dollars trying to travel across the states to get just for like some crazy investigation.
And Mark even said, like, if I'm acting weird, please tell me.
Yeah. But no, Erik's just like, no,
this is fine. This is fun.
As fire's around Erik, like fire, like just like the whole house is on fire. Erik's just like on laptop. This is fine. This is fine.
Yep.
Yeah. And the next thought is: the more we learn of the past, the more we find out how horrible these friends truly were.
Yeah. So, bottom line is that these friends were not really the best of friends.
Yeah.
At least specifically to Andrew.
Yeah.
Because they were just kind of either yelling at him to shut up or joking at his expense.
Yeah.
And not actually being
not
concerned.
very cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the quote I have is from what he remembers Travis telling them that he went up to pick Drew up and had to go up to his room to get him. This is the last time Drew gamed with us. Travis went upstairs to his room, and the kid was pacing back and forth by his bed. Everything was all neat and tucked in, but the carpet was worn in a line where Drew was pacing.
Yeah, that's
like
not
it's
normal.
all he did.
That is not normal at all. Like,
Like he didn't sleep last night. He was just walking.
That's like, Drew, you okay, buddy? Like, do you need to go somewhere? Like,
yeah, at that point I'd be like picking up the phone, calling
911.
Yeah,
just like, I think my friend has had a mental breakdown or something.
Yeah,
he needs help.
Not just like, oh, you're fine. Let's go play D&D.
Yeah, exactly. Or let's go play poker.
Yeah, and then he acts strange for the rest of the evening by quoting TV.
Constant commercials and TVs, because basically the TVs, the channels and stuff that he was watching while he was like in that house, basically, is what he was quoting. And they started quoting people verbatim from that night.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah. At that point, you guys should have called the cops, or not called the cops, but called somebody to give him some help. Like,
yeah, essentially.
Like he's had some kind of mental break or something. Like,
and they did say that they regretted not doing anything.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely have some regrets. Like, but that's like, what is it? Yeah, no, they definitely have some regrets now.
Yes,
after he's shot up a diner.
Yes,
like it's that kind of thing that happens. At like it's like, I wish we had done something. It's like, yeah, maybe you should have done something. Like,
but that's the thing. Everyone that happens all the time because you don't know. Okay, that would be hard not to notice. But a lot of the times you don't notice the little things that happen that lead up to someone snapping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that being said, I don't know how they didn't notice that.
Yeah, they just ignored it.
Yeah.
It's really like, they were dumb. They're dumb 20-year-olds that just ignored their friend's problem.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, stupidity does not end after you leave your teens. It does kind of carry on into your 20s.
20s? It's still carrying on with us right now.
I mean, shut up.
No. We're here to be honest. Stupidity never leaves you. It stays with you forever.
I mean, like when I mean stupidity, I don't mean like our dumb, like our dumbness. I mean like college, like stupidity from like college stupidity kind of thing. Not like, which is what this kind of feels like.
Jumping off roofs. And stuff.
Exactly, like jackassy kind of things. That's more like what I mean.
You say that, but they're still doing that shit.
Shut up.
With them specifically. But yes, I get where you're coming
Yeah.
where we're coming from, yeah.
Alright, so here's the Grammar Nazi, or Grammar Inquisition finally.
Okay.
Oh, the front end.
Oh yeah,
With the front ends.
The front ends.
And this is also the actual thought is it's the moment that it proves that Dave is also a horrible friend. Like I was hoping that Dave would be good.
I know, right? He seems like a swell guy.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever.
For this guy that we don't have any, we barely get any like dialogue at all from him.
Yeah.
He sounds like a, okay, yeah.
He's pretty cool. He's a party dude.
Yeah.
Well, that was his one character building moment.
Yeah.
When Andrew was like, I'm going to be alone in the house for 10 days.
Oh man, yeah, you should tell
Oh, we should have a party, yeah. Yeah, that was his one thing.
Yeah.
But, anyways,
but then none of them went to help, like, come with them, like, to hang out there.
yeah,
Like, he asked them, he's like, hey, can you guys come with me? He's like, no, we're good.
that is strange. That
After saying that.
well, because he said that they can't have a party.
Yeah, but, like, so you're still not, because you can't have a party, you're not going to hang out with your friend?
They clearly hate him.
Dude, like,
They clearly just tolerate him.
yeah, God.
They don't want to sleep
So,
over.
the worst friends
They don't
ever.
want to pack up their onesie pajamas.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and just have a sleepover.
I mean, you guys can bring some beers to go, like, if you're really, like, hungry for some, like...
Well, yeah, but I'm assuming they're
but
allowed to have
party.
50 people there.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, they're dumb 20-year-old college kids. They're dumb.
Fair.
Alright, so this is continuing
Sorry, yeah.
from the quote about what Travis said. And, yes, I remember this too. And the way Travis told the story, like he wanted it to sound funny, but he didn't believe it was. And Dave laughed.
God damn it, Dave.
Yeah. I was like, Dave, why? Just why?
Oh, he's a jerk.
He's just very upbeat, and you can see the comedy and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, really deep down inside, he's crying inside.
Probably, yeah. Probably
So-
not, though, because they don't realize these
Yeah.
things, apparently.
So there's two front ends there. So I remember this too, and the way
Yeah.
Travis told the story, and Dave laughed is its own sentence.
So, as well as blah, 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 comma, Dave laughed as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Dave laughed too, or
I'm
something.
not gonna lie though, like, since starting the show, I've actually stopped myself from doing that exact thing on emails. Like, I will say, it's like I will add it on, like, and can you do this? And I was like,
Go back.
I will literally go back and change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You're welcome.
It is a common thing that you
Yeah,
do
I
when you're
know.
typing up emails and stuff too. Like you just
Yeah,
you
'cause
want to add oh, and I have this added on thing I had to add. Oh yeah, this thing too.
Yeah.
Oh, I do a lot. I do also a lot. I tend to add like also at the beginning of things, like a lot to like as a an addendum to whatever I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
And
That's a front end.
Dialogue. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
all right. So the next.
I know, I'm just joking.
Let the man speak. Sorry, let the demon speak.
Yeah, the next thought that I have here is that I failed to envision what something sounded like because the motel AC sounds like a submerged Cessna engine.
You didn't understand what that meant?
Well, I'm just like, when in your life would you submerge a Cessna engine to hear what it sounds like?
It's what he would assume.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like a submerged. Okay, submerged. Like that word generally means like muffled or something like that. So it's like it's a Cessna engine, like which is I presume a loud jet engine.
it's a prop plane.
A prop plane engine.
It's like the shitty kind
Like-
of plane you can have.
So it's like rattling and it's like reverberating, but then there's a muffledness to it. So that's honestly, that's a very apt sound for an air conditioner or a fridge.
Yeah.
As somebody who has had to deal with a fridge recently, that the fan on is rattling, it's a very apt thing for it.
Mm-hmm. And for all we know, he could have already. He may be wanting to be a pilot in his life, and he has flown a Cessna into the ocean and heard it temporarily work underwater.
We don't know. We honestly don't know what they do for work.
No, exactly.
I think
His job is
best
getting rid of old Cessnas that barely work.
I think the closest I came to was like kind of assuming that Erik's job was something to do with like possibly the FBI or had some connections to.
Whoa!
It's super like far. Like, I'm not saying he works for the FBI. I'm saying he has some connections, like maybe like a law firm of some kind or some kind of law office.
Why? Because he mentions that should he forward it to the FBI?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like that's the closest I could come with, though. Like I'm not saying that is, but that's like the closest I could assume in the story was what his job was.
I thought he worked at Walmart.
Well, I'm just saying I have no idea.
Yeah, no. Again, we don't get those details. They're not really necessary.
Yeah, no, they're not.
But it's just like that. That was the closest I was just coming to. I was just throwing that out there.
That's fair.
But anyway,
I assume the FBI situation is being like him saying, this is some deep shit that the FBI should know about.
Yeah.
So I would forward it to the police, and they would forward it to wherever it needs to go.
Yeah, fair. All right.
While I work at my job at Chick-fil-A. I have no idea where it works.
Yeah.
Alright, so the next quote here. The whole day felt like I was pulling a string from the sand, but it's pointed me in the right direction. And I'm thinking to myself, from my experience, pulling a string from the sand, as long as it's near the surface, is pretty easy.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Does he say near the surface?
No, but I mean, it doesn't say.
Sorry, for
anything about how the
Canadianism,
string
we
is-
could do trying to pull a dog leash out of a snowbank that has been like recently plowed is just as hard. Because have you ever tried pulling a leash out of a snowbank?
No, actually.
Pretty hard.
I can imagine.
You can get it done. You can get it done as long as it's not too compact. But there is some weight down, like weighing it down. So.
I don't even understand the reference that he's trying to make.
I don't get it
Yeah,
either. I kind of see like he's like trying to tug at a string, like a connection, but he's like it's hard for him to like get the actual full connection.
The way I see it is not like the string's on the ground and he's trying to pull the entire thing out to himself. I imagined it like the string is laying the path he needs to go.
Yeah.
So he can't see the destination and he has to pull up the string to see where to go.
Exactly, yeah.
So he has to slowly get information to get to the destination.
Yeah.
Which of those is the right one? I have no idea, but that's the way I saw it.
Yeah. No, that actually seems very apt.
Yeah.
Alright, next quote. With no name for Drew's mom, and no guarantee her last was Hughes, I went to the manager's office, and I just got lucky. And I'm thinking to myself, that was fast. Some people stay up all night to get lucky.
Wow. Really, Mikey? The E stands for evil, not a rock.
I mean, we don't know what he does in his spare time.
That's true. How do you think stars are born?
Wow. Interesting. You do not need to know that information, but interesting.
It's just cosmic beings banging.
I see.
He started it.
Wow.
And
Anyway.
you continued it.
Yep.
So, alright, so the next quote. I showed the manager the article about Andrew, and then I lied. I said I was a private investigator. I don't know why. Maybe to justify why I was having her dig up rental information from 5 years ago. Anyway, she got off on it.
Giggity. Giggity, giggity, giggity.
And
This one I have to agree with you on. That is giggity.
You're not wrong.
It's just a
At the
weird
same time, I wasn't thinking like, ooh, Mark. No, it was more like, oh, let's do some CSI shit. Just like as she's like typing up, like looking, like digging through some stuff, like,
Yeah.
come over here, we'll dual hack the system.
dual hack.
That's actually something in like either NCIS or CIA or CSI, where they have to like dual hack. So like not just one person's like typing on the keyboard. The second person comes on and starts typing on the keyboard.
That's double
to make
hack.
it go faster.
Of course, yes.
Fuck.
But either way, it did sound weird.
Yeah.
I have a note for that as well. It seemed like it meant got off to it, like as in went off and did it.
See, for me,
got on it.
Yeah, or for me, I was like, I didn't see it as a sexual thing. I saw it more as like she got excited about something for once. Like,
yes,
just like this broke her daily doldrum.
Yes, I'm sure 100% that's what it means. It's just when I first read it, I'm like,
yeah.
I think you mean this.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna not take it sexual and go here.
I'm not going to,
especially after he just got lucky.
Damn it! Goddamn gutter minds. It's infectious.
Yeah.
Alright, and then I had to do some fact checking because I wasn't sure if phone numbers were printed on checks, but yes, apparently they are.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I had to check that out.
Is that CHEQUE it out?
I wish I could.
Yeah. Aw, you missed.
Alright. So
You missed me. I went to deflect it. It went over my head.
This is how good you are.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I just have an aura of deflection.
Yes.
Yes, that's what that move does. It's a bubble around me.
Yeah.
Deflects all incoming
Now
projectiles.
just this yellow or like force field goes around you.
Yeah, well, you got some art now.
Anyway, continue because this goes on for 2 hours.
Oh, that's true.
alright. The next quote. Kurt had his own home in Sugarland. But get this, he was renting a house from a client. To which my response was, Sugarland? Oh wait, it actually exists.
It does?
Yes.
Oh, I kind of assumed it was, but at the same time, like, I could have hit or take it. There's a lot of developments, like for example, there's like Sugarbush or like Happy Land is a place that exists.
Oh, what were some of those places we see when we drive around? Like that hill one or something like that? Timber something? I don't remember. It had some stupid sign.
Hills. Fuck.
It's like always something, always high or whatever.
Yeah, Hillwood or Hill.
I don't know.
Or Forest Hill or something like that. I think. Forest Hill.
It might be. I don't know.
And it was just like always. I was like always happy, always healthy, always high.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
Or like Oshawa, which is like prepare to be amazed.
That's the best sign ever. I love that sign.
Oshawa, you are amazing.
Yeah. Gotta love the schwa.
But yeah.
Alright. And then the next one. Way out west, near Pecan Grove Plantation. I was like, okay, now that sounds made up. I looked it up.
Nope.
It exists.
No, that honestly, like you'd be surprised what they call again. Like I can actually totally buy like when they call these weird like subdivision like developments and stuff like that. They call them the weirdest fucking things.
The only one that like the plantation one didn't make me think it was made up, but Sugarland really did. Because when you put land after something, it seems like it's an amusement park.
Again, there's a place not too far off called Happy Land. And it's not an amusement park. It's an actual subdivision development. There's actually a Happy Land elementary school.
Okay, but you have to agree with me. Putting land after
It's
makes
bizarre.
it sound like...
Exactly, yes. I totally agree. It's just ridiculous, but it exists. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of that kind of stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
Happy Land. Yeah. I think everyone there is super depressed.
I think
all
so.
the time.
I mean, where they like compared like where they're situated, yes.
Oh, seriously? Is it a shit location?
Well, the local areas are considered like kind of like slummy or like kind of like the low, like the rednecky lowbrow places. So, yes,
The sticks.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
All right, and then they also visit Potato Land in this. So,
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm
that's a
saying.
nickname for a state.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a stretch.
Yeah.
But it means like, first Sugarland, now Potato Land.
What's next? Candyland?
Yeah.
Babes in Toyland? It's actually a movie.
Oh, okay.
It's where some kids go to Toyland.
Alright.
Whenever you say Toyland, the only thing I can think of is Trixie in Toyland, which is a shitty Wii game that the Game Grumps played.
Fair.
Alright. And then I solved the mystery.
Oh, you did?
Yep. A plank is missing from the side gate.
Yep.
The door is open.
My God. That's what the house has been trying to get people to say all along. It's like, somebody please fucking fix this plank. The
Yeah.
door is open. If somebody has a pet dog, they can get out. The house is actually just looking out for the families that live in it.
The dog would have to be so tiny.
I mean, it could be a Chihuahua or Jack Russell Terrier, or a Poodle, or a Beagle, or
To get out something
Chihuahua.
that wide?
yeah. Dude, my dogs.
Well, you don't know how
my
big
dogs
the
are not
plank
that
is.
small.
They're not be that wide.
They're not 2x10s.
They could be.
Or a wiener dog, or a dachshund.
We're talking about the states here. They
I'm
do
sorry.
things big.
Captain Solanum's dog.
But the
Small-
stereotypical American, like, dream house situation is a white picket fence of 2x4s. Like,
Yeah, but
that kind of
that's-
size.
yeah,
or
but
1x4s.
it's not that.
Yeah, but it's not that because it's not the American dream house.
It's the American Nightmare House.
Where they have, like, huge sheets of plywood as
Yeah.
each piece.
Yeah,
So you can drive a car in between when one's out.
basically.
Sure. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Alright. So, it goes on to give the scientific name for the Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Which, helps explain the
Well,
name.
it's called Dionaea House.
But the problem with it is that Dionaea is a type of fly, so it's really just one fly house.
maybe it traps one person at a time. Hence, one fly at a time.
But it traps 2. You mentioned that yourself. At that one time.
Shut up. Yeah.
How dare you?
Also, it's. I think it's less of a fly trap, like Venus flytrap, and I think it's more of a pitcher plant. But
Right? I have no idea what pitcher plant is.
a pitcher plant's another carnivorous plant. Basically, it has a. It does the same kind of thing as a fly trap, where it like lures flies and insects in with a super sweet thing. So they think it's like a flower that they can pollinate and munch on. But then they get stuck on all the gooey, basically the sticky inside, and drowned in the fluids in the bottom.
But it's not a...
It's basically
Nom.
it's there's a Pokemon actually based off of it. The pitcher plant. Oh, fuck, not Bellsprout. Okay, I can't remember the Pokemon's name.
Is it Weeping Bell?
Weeping Bell, yes. Weeping Bell.
Wow.
Weird.
Thank God it was Gen 1. Oh, oh jeez. Dodged a bullet there.
Weeping Bell, yeah, it's definitely it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it's the most evolved version of that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically that's what they modeled them off of. It's basically a pitcher style flour, and at the bottom there's enough liquid, like digestive liquids and sugars and stuff like that the fly will get stuck on the side of it and slowly fall down or get impaled on barbs inside of it.
Oh, that's nice.
And will slowly be digested over 1,000 years. No, will be digested over a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then whatever's left will get spewed out or just it'll be completely dissolved.
So you can just be sitting there looking at one, and all of a sudden it's like, it spits out like a skeleton.
Yes. I think that's more like what that's what the Venus flytrap does, is that it basically closes down and then takes all the things it needs and then just opens up again and releases the
It says that in the actual the pasta.
Yeah. So yeah, either a Venus flytrap or a pitcher plant would work.
So this house is actually in the hood because it's super fly.
That hurts so much. Audience, take a drink. Lord knows I want to.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Can you move on? Continue.
That's good.
Insert a laugh track, please.
I
might actually.
Hang on, guys. Actually, let's do it right now. It's like... Look, all of us, all three of us, start laughing. We'll do a laugh track now.
Oh, I thought you were
custom laugh track.
Oh, custom laugh track.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, cool. Yes. I am totally at it. Actually, it'll be the laugh track. Laugh track. It's like...
Just the hack. Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, continue.
You got fodder to play with it.
Yeah.
Alright. So, the next issue I have is with the Sprint PCS giving text message information like it's no tomorrow, because a cell phone company will not give out text message information unless they're ordered to by the court or police.
Yeah.
They're not just going to give out text information.
These are the texts he got, though. These are the texts that Erik got. Right?
Yeah, these are texts like I guess I don't know, like, yeah, I'm a little iffy about like how he got those cell phone, or unless he like
he got them late.
Huh? Yeah, unless he like transcribed what he got, unless he like was somehow able to like email himself all his like the cell phone messages he got from his phone, because maybe that's a thing he could do, or transcribe them from the phone.
He wouldn't have.
The problem is that he gets text message information from a Sprint PCS.
Okay, I was
PCS person.
I guess I missed that, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it says at the top like removed the number, or the actual account is removed, but it's at something at Sprint, whatever the heck.
Yeah, maybe earlier, like again, this was like 2004. Maybe you could like ask to get some of those, like if they were your phone like registered to your phone and stuff like that.
I assumed the removed part was just Mark's account, and then it's just saying that this account texted you this.
Yeah,
but it's like, are you able to text to email?
I thought you could,
because that might be what this is. Because it's saying that this text is coming from this phone, but you're receiving it like an email because it's saying it's from this person with this subject. It's in an email format, right? At least the way that he copies it down. And because that format is repeated every time, saying from and all that.
Actually, I have it right here. Date Tuesday, September 21st, 2004, 5:77 p.m.
What?
5:77 p.m.
Seriously?
Yeah. Wait, what? Erik, were you fucking with us here? Like maybe that's no, that's not even like military time.
No.
This is a PM.
Yeah.
The fuck, Erik? And then subject, no subject, and then the message was the door is open. Unless it's like the how like it's
I was just fucking with time.
Unless it's trying to show that like the reality suddenly just bent a little bit, like nudged a bit, and there's like an extra 17 minutes into 5 o'clock. Holy shit! Yeah, and then like before that though, it says like from removed at messaging.sprint.pc. Okay, I didn't even read that part.
Yeah, it's from
through that.
Someone. The first time I read that, to be honest, I have no idea what the hell it meant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... I'm sorry, that alone is worth, like, why we're discussing this work. He's like, god damn. 577?
That's a thing.
What? I gotta tweet that.
Did you tweet at 577?
I'm just gonna tweet Erik. I can see if I can find him on Twitter. Just like 5:77 p.m. The hell. Anyway, continue.
All right. So
Yeah.
I've got two more.
Okay.
The first one has a front button.
Okay.
Of course. The sentence begins with it. But his laptop wasn't equipped with Photoshop or any other photo app, so I can't see more than thumbnails. This hurt.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much this
Man, people in 2004.
No. If it's all he could see was icons, so he couldn't see the image at all,
Yeah.
I would have been fine with it.
But
But the fact that the computer is rendering thumbnails of the images means it does have a program that if you double click, it's going to show it.
Plus, like every computer, you can just click on an image and it'll show it, unless it's
Yeah.
a weird format.
Yeah. In which case it would have the icon.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I think,
The fact that he knows their pictures shows that the computer is showing.
has a preview system.
Yeah, because if it was just a bunch of like blank white files, you wouldn't know it's a picture.
I think honestly that's my biggest peeve, because even in the original, like even the base version that we had, like the site, I don't remember there ever being links to photos that supposedly they had access to. Mm-hmm. And you'd think that he would have attached some photos to these emails, like Mark, like when he was, because he did take a picture of the house before descending into the house, like a couple of days before descending into the house.
Yeah.
So you'd think like we would actually have some photo evidence of the house just for some like immersion level. And something that happened a little bit later, like a couple of years later, Erik has brought out some basically some digital props for things that he had some ideas for. So like I think maybe it's just at the time he didn't have access to some believable like content for that, so he had just basically had to write it all up.
Well, I don't know, but with the house, all you have to do is find a very generic house.
Yeah.
And if they have the perfect house, but but the fence is fine, just knock on the door and be like, "Can I remove one of your fence boards just to take a picture?"
Yeah, I was like,
I'll put it back on.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll also blur out the number. I'm doing a project, and I was hoping to get to kickstart my whole career as a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how it went down. But that's how it would go down.
That being said, if someone came up to your house saying, "Can I take one of your fence boards so I can take a picture of your
Can I
house?"
take a photo of your house? Your house is perfect for my horror story I'm writing.
Oh, thanks.
It's just so shitty. Like,
Wow, get off my property.
yeah. But yeah.
yeah. And then my last actual thought here is another quote. "Hooray for automated FTP uploading." And I'm just like, automated uploading in 2004. That's a feat unto itself. And it requires you have to be really good at tech. But the whole image thumbnail fiasco sort of says otherwise.
Yeah, but again, he also came up with a website. He also built the website.
He has a very specific set of skills, and viewing images is not one of them.
He's a writer and a web designer, not an artist.
Yeah.
Wait, that still doesn't work. Anyway,
It's fine.
yeah, he's got very specific sets going there. All right, so you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are my notes.
Okay.
What do you got?
I don't believe I have too much left, but we shall see. So, first off, it's pretty early on at 9/8/2004. I didn't know whether I should have grouped this with a grammar-related discrepancy or with a note, but I put it here. So, specifically regarding the dark blue text on the dark gray background that is nearly impossible to read on Creepypasta.wikia, I had to highlight it every single time. And it shows up like 10 times throughout the entire story.
Yeah.
It was just frustrating. It was just a bad choice of color. If it was like a cyan, something bright, or like a yellow maybe.
Yeah.
A yellow would work.
I think it's
yellow would probably be the
I think
best,
it's because
I have to say.
in the original posting on the YouTube on the website, it was white with dark blue as his text.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was
But when you paste it in, you would probably have to redo the format.
I think they might have reformatted it that way, like to keep like that the same motif. But yeah, I agree.
I would want
with the black background. It doesn't really help.
Yeah, lighter would be nice. But also, I didn't really understand immediately what the blue text meant.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't openly say. Like, Mark, I understand what it means, but from the get-go I didn't understand, because Mark just mentioned that he will transcribe the newspaper, and then he puts this blue text in. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is part of the transcribed
But no,
newspaper.
it's
I'm like,
actually
no,
just-
it's someone
Eric's-
talking to
Yeah,
him.
it's Eric's talking. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things, and this is going back to what they used to do in emails, is that they used to have the less than sign or whatever that went along the side.
Yes.
When you replied, it would do that to the original.
The reply message.
So you essentially highlighted something, hit reply to that specifically to copy and paste that into his next email so he can reply to it?
No, well, he replied, but he copied and pasted that section, so that's why there's it has the arrows anyway.
I guess.
Which is, and that helps to differentiate that it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Or trying to.
It is a little like, because I was actually kind of surprised that like we didn't get like full like reply emails from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got Mark's side.
I really wanted to see everything that Erik had to say.
Yeah, it would have made it did almost seem like it's not entirely like one-sided because we do get those blue like messages, like little blue things.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have been. It did feel like a semi one-sided like conversation we were listening to.
Yeah.
We were reading. Even though in some of his emails he did make it a note to actually like say like yeah just like you said like blah, 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 and like so he did like relay a little bit of the information. But yeah.
It would be nice if it was entirely
Yeah.
back and forth, you know, so it's like a conversation. But yeah, reading it through at first, it sounded like it was almost like Mark said something and then like he was remembering something about it, and then he continued like I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I realized, wait, no, that's Erik talking, but like this is an email, not a text message. This isn't a messaging situation, so how that's happening. But yeah, eventually I did clue into that that's quoting previously.
Yeah.
It was just kind of annoying.
And it's greater than arrows.
Yeah.
Just trying to.
He was trying to figure out what the arrow is.
Yeah, which arrow that actually is the greater than symbol.
No, it's less than.
No.
Which way is the
Okay.
open side? Isn't it that way?
Well, greater than is like that.
This means less than, because, no.
This is greater than.
If only we were a visual podcast and everyone could see you guys.
I know, right?
These like pantomiming arrows with your fingers in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, they can see that.
Of course.
Yeah, they understand. Anyway.
Take a drink, guys.
Is that just a thing now?
I'm just going to make it a thing.
Oh, okay, fair.
Again, it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Either way, moving on. This is... my next point is exactly what we were just talking about. I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't get to see what Erik had to say about any of this.
Yeah.
It's like he's purposefully keeping his words off the record. Like, I don't get it.
Maybe it's something like to do with his work, but then like later on we get the A Quiet Place blog where he privately like talked about his thoughts about the whole matter.
Yeah. It just feels like there's a disconnect because it's not a full conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did go over that.
And is that it?
No, I got one more.
Okay.
Actually, no, we haven't talked about this yet. About Mr. Paranoia.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. So after the email correspondence and like we're done kind of thing, it technically could have ended. We then get some updates, and Mr. Paranoia is one of these emailers who keep sending Erik information regarding the houses.
Yes.
And Erik getting kind of annoyed at Mr. Paranoia.
Yeah, essentially he posted one email of his and saying that he has some information for Erik, that it's a Flytrap house, and he's like giving all this information about what it could possibly be, and it'll get you if you know too much about it. And then...
Is he a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah, but then Erik responds to him with, well, regardless of how I feel about it, the site isn't for me, so in case you read it here first, send me what you have, and I'll decide if I want to share it. Mr. Paranoia, also, don't expect me to publish your messages to me ever again. I am not a PR firm. So my question there is, why are you being such a dick to him?
Maybe he's gotten like hundreds of like dozens or like thousands, like not thousands, like hundreds of emails though from the guy.
It sounds like this is his first email, and then he's like, "Fuck you, Mr. Paranoia."
Yeah, this is rather like, or maybe like he thinks that's some kind of like fraud or something like that. I don't know.
Like this is the first person who's trying to help. It seems.
Well, the problem is we've already established that all the people in this are horrible friends.
That's true.
Yeah. So he's even a worse stranger.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a fire truck or an ambulance?
Might be an alibi. Yeah.
What? What did you say?
It's ambulance backwards.
Did Gamer just start speaking in tongues?
Yeah, baby.
Whoa.
When you look at the front of an ambulance, that's what it says. Check them out.
So is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we're done the correspondence of Mark, now we move on to Adventures in Babysitting, which is story 2. So this one is basically it's posted as one of the, from some of the updates that he started doing after the main correspondence, and as he was talking to Jen about all the situation. And
just sorry to cut you off. Didn't Mr. Paranoia link him this?
Paranoia may have given him this link to post.
I thought that's what this is all about.
It's like
he knows information and he knows it because of this.
Honestly, my problem with Mr. Paranoia is when I was reading it, he seemed to kind of just drop off. So I wasn't sure if this content was from him or if this is just something that what's his face Erik was finding on his own, or through other emails and some of that. So this might have actually been from Mr. Paranoia. I just didn't catch that.
I'll cut you off right now.
Cool.
After trading emails several times with Mr. Paranoia, this is after he bitched about him.
Yeah.
He finally sent me the link mentioned in the 1017 email.
Oh.
I've read it, and he's saying, Jen, I've read it already, but here it is, treat it as a hoax. And there's the link to Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, and so where we get is basically, what's her name, Linny? Or, let's see,
the short form is Danny?
Danielle.
Yeah, it's Danielle.
As I have a quote here, Danielle. So Danielle is getting this this babysitting job because, and she usually doesn't do this kind of thing, but she decided that she always has all these weird stories to tell when she's has a new job and stuff. So she decided she wants to share that with the world, and so that's why we have a live journal or blog of this stuff. And she's got this new gig to make some money
for Christmas.
And it's babysitting this kid because the parents are always away, basically are never home until late at night, and they're computer programmers from downtown of the city they're in. And so I'm just going to kind of recap it pretty quickly. It starts off kind of benign, just the kid's a little strange, a little quiet.
But they play Nintendo.
But they play Nintendo and they play Dollhouse with no dolls.
No, they're dolls. They're just too big.
Yeah, they're too big for the house. And they watch Aladdin a couple times. But then small things start happening over the course of a week that kind of strain the whole thing. It gets better. It starts off pretty good, but then starts getting worse.
Yeah.
She burns food, and so they make PB&J and some of that. She noticed that the parents are computer programmers and have this huge computer system
in the living room
area,
and she's constantly complaining that it's really cold.
But she figures that's because the it's to keep the servers going, cool and some of that. And the parents, when they do see the parents, they're basically completely just ready to go to bed, just ready to collapse. They're just so tired and stuff like that. And then Danielle, or the little girl, she's babysitting. Linny, that's who I thought Linny was. Gets messy and needs to take a bath, and she decides to have her have a bath because even though they're a week they've known them, and so she's a little iffy, but she does it anyway.
And she specifically gets messy because Danielle was about to give her some spaghetti, and she felt something grab her arm or something.
Yeah, something yeah. Or felt something on her foot, or something. She felt something.
Felt something touch her somewhere.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't say specifically.
And so while she's getting the bath ready and stuff like that, and Linny's in the bathtub, she goes to grab something, and then
soap, because there's no actual soap
from the main bathroom, or from the main the parents' bedroom, I guess, or bathroom.
Yes.
And hear her scream. She runs back, and Linny's being pulled into the toward the drain, or toward the faucet by some kind of hair or string or something like that, or some strand.
Before the before the bath was filled,
Yeah.
she noticed that there was a string hanging out of the faucet and tried to pull it out, but it wouldn't come out.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, I'll just fill it up.
But apparently it's grabbed onto, like, Linny, and so, like, they're trying their hardest to try and get away from it. I can't remember what exactly happens
To make it let go?
Yeah.
She starts crying. They both start crying and it lets go.
Okay, and then they basically just throw her out of the bathroom, and then just, like, they put Nope right out of there and hide under some covers and watch.
She has, like, stripes on her leg now.
Yeah, like
bleeding a
string.
little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly. And it's, like,
And she goes back with scissors later to cut the string, and it's not there.
Yeah.
And the water's drained.
Yeah. Without them doing anything.
Yes.
And then they wait basically nervously on the couch in, like, blankets until, like, the parents come home, and she's going to say something about it, but then...
No, she says everything.
Oh, she does say really?
She
Okay.
tells all of that, but she forgets to mention that she found the stairs to go up on the one-floor building.
Yeah.
Because she did find those, and they smelled like candy or
like
bread.
baked bread,
But she didn't go up them.
Yeah. And she's I think at this point she says, like, she doesn't want
Yes, she does not want to continue
anymore. And
babysitting.
then we'll just, like, until the end of the week, and then we'll, like, find somebody to say, okay, fine, I can do that. Even though she really doesn't want to. And then Linny starts talking about the Crooked Man rhyme. And
That was long ago.
Yeah, but she's like, it's annoying to her, and then the next, like, an entry, like, later on, there's an entry where she starts saying the Crooked Man rhyme, like, that's basically the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the next one is, like, the last entry is Found You, and there's a link to Jen's live journal.
Yeah.
Because that Jen put out just to, like, so that she could, like, find, like, cause she's involved with Mark and Erik.
And just to clarify, the previous one where it's all just the rhyme, that is specifically Danielle.
Yeah,
doing
that's
a
what
post
I
of
meant.
just saying the rhyme.
Yeah, she just relays the rhyme and sort of that, yeah.
And the last one is Red Rover, can Jenny come over?
Yes, yeah, because she's trying to hunt down. It's almost like she's become a lure for the house or something.
She
like that
100% has.
Oh yeah, and now she's trying to, like, track down Jenny.
Yeah, and then 10 days later, roughly,
Yeah,
on
There's-
October 31st is when Found You
Yeah.
comes up.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's Adventures in Babysitting. It's basically the quick descent into babysitting for somebody who for babysitting a lure in that house. I don't know. It didn't seem like the family were lures or were like were infected yet, but, like,
No.
it seemed like they were still, like, they were living in the house and not being attacked by it. But maybe, like, the parents were, but Linny wasn't. I don't know. It was kind of weird to me because, like, this family was living in this house and weren't, like, eaten yet.
Well, Linny was almost eaten by the bathtub.
That's true. I mean, yeah, there was that. But it seemed like it was targeting more the babysitter than anybody else in the house.
Well, again, we don't get any more information after the attack,
And she also,
so they all could be converted after that point.
also, we neglected that they found a set of keys with
Yes.
Bob that when they went to a store, they were able to scan it and find out who it was. And
It was Mark
Condry.
Condry.
Yeah, it was Mark. Yeah, it was Mark Condry's, but she didn't know that.
She said Condry with
Yeah,
an H.
but she didn't remember the name. And so that's why, like, when Jen read this, like, a little bit after like the link is posted, there's another entry. It's like, Jen, don't go, don't look for, like, don't go looking for this. I don't know if you can, like, I can't get a hold of you or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a hoax. It's a lure. Don't go for it or anything like that. And obviously that seems like what was going on. Was that it was trying to lure Jen now?
Yeah.
Into this. Grammar requisitions, I really didn't have anything for this one again, because I kind of just treated it like it's a blog entries and stuff like that, and I was really just, honestly, for this, like, I'm not going to lie, for all these stories, I was really just reading it for the plot and, like, the information from that. I wasn't really thinking of, like, doing any kind of, like, grammar work for it, so...
Do you have any grammar work?
No, I gave up.
The only thing I noticed, but I didn't bother taking a note because I'm like, whatever, is every time she said night, it was NITE. But it's kid talking,
exactly.
and it's
like,
in a blog, who cares?
Exactly, it's immersion level, kind of like, again, it's an epistolary story. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
100% you are.
But it's supposed to be basically like blog articles and emails, and those are usually rife with those issues.
Yeah, and they should not be changed. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the way the character talks.
Yeah.
Not to reference something else.
Why do you have a problem? Why do you have no problem with this? We had a problem with those two stories from Maker Falls.
Because they're written in a story format. This isn't.
Okay.
This is literally a 16-year-old girl's journal. It's supposed to be written like a 16-year-old girl wrote it. To be honest, I think it's too well written for a 16-year-old girl. Like, it should be more riddled with grammar-related discrepancies.
Okay, fine, fair enough. All right, then actual thoughts then? We'll just go
Yes.
into those? Okay. So, Wednesday, October 20th, 2004, 11:31 p.m. Home, finally. Okay. I wish I wasn't so scared of going back. I feel so empty. Danielle. So, this story basically gives more details about the trap the house lays down for people. Also gives it this inkling of another origin to it. Maybe. Just the way I was like, kind of like, again, diving into it, like theorizing and stuff like that. The coding on the computers, because we didn't mention what she saw on the computers. There's like a weird coding of like basically like attic.exe.
Yeah, basically.
And it's like it's a weird like little lead. Like, is this a secret experiment? If so, why?
There's like
is
an
it
attic test or something. Yeah.
Yeah, is it some kind of like weird like government test? Like that the house is actually some kind of like weapon or some kind of a weird experiment that's like computerized, or like maybe even like a weird like matrixy kind of thing. I think it could be that the house has just gotten into the computers and tampered with things. But it's a bit of a weird outlier for me when compared to everything else that's been going on with this house.
You know what I kind of figured? Well, first of all, the file name is tmp_test_attic, so temporary test attic.
Yeah.
So the way it almost seemed like is the parents were running this experiment in the house,
Yeah.
and using their own daughter and this babysitter as test subjects.
Like,
that's why they were gone every single night.
Oh shit! I didn't even. So like okay. So new theory. There's a group out there, possibly related to the SNTF,
Of course.
that is
Thank you.
that is researching the Dionaea houses, the house continuum, because there's apparently more than one house. Well, we haven't gotten there yet. Anyways,
Yes.
there are like more than one of these houses somewhere out in the world, out in the universe, in the estate. Well, maybe out in the universe.
Possibly
Out
universe,
in,
yes.
in the states, where and like the government is aware of it, or some group is aware of it, and they're doing they're running tests, and like maybe Lily's not even like their daughter. Maybe she's just like an adopted like subject character.
Yeah.
And like that's maybe why like the previous babysitter, like the woman that like brings Lenny home, like doesn't even go into the house at all.
Yeah.
She like just like she wants Danielle to be there like on the dot so that she doesn't have to go in like and like spoil the test basically, or become part of the test.
Yes.
Damn, that's fucking crazy shit.
I know,
that.
right?
I love that. Even like removing the SNTF, that theory is solid as shit.
I like it. Yes.
Well, my mind went Supernatural Task Force for that.
As it should.
But it's more complex. Like, the computers are running 24/7.
Yes.
So they're actually keeping the stairs at bay. Because the stairs don't actually show up until there's a power flicker.
Oh, so temporary. What was it? Temporary attic.
Temporary test_attic. Attic.
So maybe they're trying to temporarily like stop it from like opening up.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, because the test that the computers are running is a temporary program to see if it's working, and then
So-
if it works, they'll.
It's
Wire
going to be a little
bugs.
bit of spoilers for like some of the later part of the stories. But what if like the reason why it's always so damn cold in this place is because this is because since they're all the houses are somehow like linked together like across all of them. What if like the coldness is from this one in particular because it's trying to keep the servers cool down? And so like because it's cooled down in this one, it's cooled down across all of them.
Yeah. Because it does say that it's warmer in the hallways,
Yeah.
and it's cold in.
In the kitchen area and living
Yeah.
rooms. So yeah. God damn. I like that. All right. So on to my next one, I guess. There's nothing else to talk about for that. Thursday, October 21st, 2004, 11:41 p.m. There was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat who caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together, crooked little house. I wonder if the folks who did the Conjuring 2 checked this out back in the day. Although I'm pretty sure the Crooked Man creepy rhyme has been around for ages. It just seemed like a really big coincidence. But then I have an update as I found
You
out.
throw that piece of paper away dramatically.
But then I got an update okay because I looked at I held this off from when I was doing his filmography earlier. When I was looking through Erik's filmography after I read the story, I noticed that turns out Erik Heisserer is an uncredited writer for the Conjuring 2 film. I wonder what he contributed. For you guys, I don't think you guys have seen The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2, there's a crooked man, and they use that rhyme verbatim. Like
an exact rhyme?
They have a ghost monster inside the house that is the crooked man, and it's like, and they even like say it like I was saying it, like I was reading it. There was a crooked man, and he walked a crooked mile, and like there's like a little like creepy, like one of those like weird like if you spin it, it creates an animation, like an illusion of animation, and it's a crooked man like walking. It's some kind of dial or something like that, but yeah,
I forget what it's called, but yes.
And then like as he's like walking, like the creepy like figures are like walking, and then like suddenly like out of like all the cat, he starts vanishing from like from the tiles until he's like completely gone from there, and suddenly he's in the real world.
Oh, nice!
Like it's a really good like the Crooked Man in the Conjuring 2 is one of my favorite monsters in the Conjuring universe. But yeah, realizing that Erik went on to write part of the Conjuring 2, I wonder what he added.
Why was he uncredited though?
I don't know. That's what it said on his on the Wikipedia page.
I don't get what. Okay, slight tangent. I don't understand why some people are uncredited.
He might have just like been like an advisor or like a very minor, like so minor that's not even worth editing.
You say minor, but that entire thing is probably him.
Well, we don't know, but like it's a little close. Like it's straight up like the entire fucking like thing is brought into this. And I was just like, God damn it! And again, the Crooked Man rhyme isn't like something from original to him. It is something that exists in the real world.
Okay,
it is a like Victorian period or like it's an Old English rhyme.
But it kind of sounds like they were making this movie, and like, we need a creepy kind of jingle to go with. He's like, why don't you do this one?
Yeah, why don't you do this one? And again, like even again, like he's like does the Crooked Man rhyme, and then Red Rover. Like that's also another childhood like rhyme thing. But yeah, it's just like, I wonder what he contributed to the Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
Looks over to the Dionaea house and sees this entry, Crooked Man.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was just like, wow. And honestly, that's my actual thoughts for Adventures in Babysitting. So, Mikey, these things for you.
Yeah, it adds a bit more questions to what's going on.
Yeah.
Because of family living there for an extended period of time.
But the Madsons already lived there.
Well, this may not be... This is actually a different house.
I know, yeah, but also, again, the Madsons lived in that house for an undetermined amount of time.
3 to 4 months, actually.
Okay.
And they were unaffected by the effects of the Dionaea house.
Yeah, because it says it has to be specific types of people.
But again, like, if we do like presume that the theory, like our theory of like that these guys are, this is like another like aspect of it where like they're not immune, they may not be immune, but they're like basically they're being very safe about it and cautious because they're running like tests basically on it.
Yeah, it's like the parents know that the house is doing this, so they're going to research and find out why.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we never find out what happened to the Lily and her family. Like they might have, they might still be out there, or they might meet like shortly after. But or they may be flesh puppets for the house,
possibly.
Yeah. So,
or the parents are still trying to figure the thing out, and they just have a new quote unquote daughter.
They have a new Lily.
Yeah.
They now have a Timmy.
Yeah.
And this is where we get the connection that all the multiple houses out there that look the same are actually connected in some way because of the key.
Yeah, they show, and what I love about this is they show. They don't just tell us that. Not until later do they tell it. Like, do they start putting some theories out there to tell us? This one, they actually legitimately show us that that's the case, because this is like a couple of states over from where what's his name? Mark went missing, and his keys pop up here. Yeah. So and it builds on that idea by presenting that to us, not like telling us that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the confusing part is like, well, if the keys ended up there, then how come other stuff isn't being transported?
It's very selective, or it could be just like random, and like it could just be like super random or selective.
I'm thinking that the house essentially went, I want to get this person next. I'm going to choose out of my assortment of things I've taken from people, and I will plant it here.
Yeah, like it's
for this person to find.
I think it's pretty safe to say that this thing is either not if it's not aware like of its own mind or whatever to access the internet, it's able to use its lures or whatever to access the internet. Hence why we have like Danielle like later on start looking for Jenny. Like she knows that it's going like Jenny's going to see this. So like I think that's what it is that it's basically like it's luring people in because it's aware of like it's being noticed. So it's somehow like supernaturally or psychically knows about that.
Okay, I agree with that, but there's one problem. The one issue I have with that is in Adventures in Babysitting, the second last post has theoretically the house controlling Danielle as to tell Danielle to type down the rhyme.
Yeah.
Why? I understand the very last one because it's calling someone out.
Well, it might be the same reason like why it sent out an article with Andrew shooting, and then later on Mark's remains on the street.
That ties
who sent those?
That ties into the last one though, because the very last post is saying found you with a link to that person, and that is there for the reason of Jenny to find it and see that this person is after them. I understand that post.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the house would tell her to write down the rhyme.
It's just really maybe something because it picked it up from Lenny.
Okay,
but
yeah,
Lenny was
it's
mentioning
the whole thing where Lenny was saying it over and over, and she was really annoyed with it, and her writing that down is her mimicking Lenny. So it's that whole thing that Andrew was doing, mimicking TV and things that he'd heard.
Yeah.
It's just a whole like puppet thing. And also like from
like,
her
at
point
that
of view,
point-
it's to show that like she's infected.
I know that, but
yeah.
I mean, in lore, it seems weird. Unless it's a situation where, like, she's trying to do a normal post to say, shit's fucked up, I can't get out of here, but all she can think of is that.
The crooked man, yeah.
So she's trying to say other things, but that's all that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That works, I guess.
Yep.
I'll go with that one for my headcanon. So it's not weird.
Alright, so...
Oh, on to me?
Yep.
I don't know, I've kind of chimed in with most of my things again. The only thing I really have written down is, when it gets to the end, she's a flesh puppet now to go after them.
Yeah, and Jenny's now kind of getting like she's like throwing out a lure for Jenny now. So
Yeah, she's 100% a target now.
Yep. Does that?
Yeah, like I said, I've chimed in with most of my other
Yeah, no,
shit,
that's true. Like we've basically been like chiming in on each other's stuff. So now that's basically it for the first main story and the first side story. Tomorrow we're going to be posting the second and the end part of the story. Because it's a surprise, it's a two-parter episode for New Year's Eve.
Weird, right?
Yeah. So, do we want to do like kind of a final thoughts on on the first part of the main story and Adventures in Babysitting and like basically recommendations, I guess, for the next part?
Recommendations don't work because we know what happened.
Right, that's true. Okay, cut that out. So I guess,
just so people know.
Well, I guess for now, then, like we'll do like kind of just like our final thoughts on the first story and the second story.
Sure.
All right. Honestly, I really liked the first part of the main story, the correspondence. Despite some of our issues with it, like I would have liked to have both email sides.
Yeah.
But as it is, like basically up until it stops, like it could have just stopped right there, like as him like it's like I'm not falling for this again. I'm not falling for this, like Mark did. Like you're not gonna get me, kind of thing. Like it could have ended there, and I would have been perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that it continued, and like what we did get. Adventures in Babysitting added some more, like another level of depth because it added more ideas and actually a different but similar interaction to the house. Because this time we actually had somebody living in the house. It wasn't just like hearsay from an outsider who knew somebody who lived in the house.
Yeah, it gives us first-person perspective of what it actually looks like
and how it interacts with somebody before it just straight up eats them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that for the first one. Honestly, I'd say I'd recommend the first part of the story for sure. And even Adventures in Babysitting works pretty well for like a continuation on it. So, yeah, honestly, I'd recommend it up to this point. So, Mikey, these things for you?
The first one I really had issues with the 5-year gap. And the fact that these friends are real jerks.
You just didn't like the characters, so you didn't like the...
Well, they're reminiscing about their friend from 5 years ago that went a little bit loopy, and the only reason they're talking about it is because it's been 5 years and he shot some people.
And then killed himself.
Killed himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And they're questioning why that happened, and they're going back, it's like, well, why didn't we do anything back then?
It's like, yeah, why didn't you do anything back then? Like, yeah, like, they're flawed, they're very flawed characters. But again, like... I mean, if you didn't like that part.
Yeah.
Like, did it really spoil this? Did it really ruin the story though for you? Because that's like the characters like that exist all the time in stories.
Well,
That's where and they are kind of redeemable because they're not complete assholes where they don't feel regret. Like they do feel regret for this whole thing, and they're trying to find out what happened, like what went wrong,
well,
why did they?
Honestly, it just makes me happy that Mark got what he deserved.
Wow.
Because he didn't help when he should have 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, but again, they were dumb college kids. So, like...
What they don't tell you is every single game night, they're all plastered off their ass.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of assume that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Alright, well, so, like, that you would recommend the story because of that? Or...
Well, that and just getting information was horrible. And actually finding the house, like there had to be a much cleaner way to do that. Like, bring Travis into it.
It is weird that they introduce characters and do nothing with them.
I am surprised Travis and David. And honestly, actually, I'll have late in the next episode. I have some comments about a certain character that shows up and is just like there for like a moment. I don't know if it's
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, who? But yeah, like I am surprised that Travis and Dave just vanish into the ether. They might as well just they really should it could have just been Erik, Dave, or. It could have just been Erik, Mark,
and... bring Dave in, he's cool.
No, but I mean, you know what I mean? It could have just been Erik, Mark, and Andrew.
Yeah.
It really, Dave and Travis were really kind of superfluous.
Yeah, but, okay, that doesn't mean that they're unnecessary characters, it's just they're unnecessary to what's going on now.
Yeah, no,
they
exactly.
were there back then, but they have nothing they could contribute to things now.
And to counter and to support that, I mean, that is something that happens in real life. Like, you do have, extra friends that you just, that didn't really do anything special to the series. They were just there. They were just another body, a warm body.
And for all we know, they changed their email addresses. They have different
maybe they just
phone numbers now. It's not necessarily.
But they may not be dead. They might have just moved on with their life. But these are the characters that couldn't move on.
Yeah.
Even after they.
Because this thing targets people who are trying to fuck with it.
Yeah. And
so
if Dave and Travis didn't, then they're
fine.
Safe. Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe Travis is the one that gave the article to begin with.
That's actually very maybe he's somebody that we just haven't gotten a name for in the story so far, in the investigations.
I have a name for him. Sweatsuit Man.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Is that the next one?
Yeah.
I thought that was something you missed in this one.
No, that was the next. In the next two ones, that's when he gets mentioned. He gets brought up in A Quiet Place. In his secret diary, basically.
Edit that out!
No. It's a spoiler for the next episode. You'll have to listen to the next episode.
I fucked it up!
No, you didn't. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so, for the first story, or for the first part of the main story and the side story.
So, with that being said about the main story, there was parts in it where I became engrossed with the story. I just wanted to keep reading.
Cool.
So there was some redeeming parts to it.
Yeah.
Where's the thumbs up? As I'm doing a visual joke of turning a thumbs up sideways and up, and
one day I'm just going to have a security camera plugged in this room just for us to
like a glitchy kind of effect over it all the time. Yes.
I don't know why you guys keep insisting. I don't know why you keep insisting, cultists, that we wear our costumes.
What do you mean costumes? This is what I look like all the time.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, for the main one, it's got a 25% at least recommendation because it does some stuff right,
It's a
but
partial recommendation.
yeah,
Not quite a half recommendation, but a partial.
yeah. And then the
Adventures in Babysitting.
Adventures in Babysitting is interesting. It adds to the lore of the house instead of just, oh, I went to the house and
Got
no,
eaten.
you don't hear anything from me anymore.
Oh, I went to the house. I'm in the house. I smell bread from the staircase. I didn't realize this place had a second floor. And then the next one is the door is open.
Yeah, it's not repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's actually giving us a different angle of existence in this house.
Which is nice, and it really brings in the supernatural task force,
Yeah.
which is nice that they did
Also-
it for us.
Also, with the computer system, magic, science, together. Kind of.
Is there magic?
The supernatural is magic.
But basically,
Could be aliens
the
for science for all
house,
we know.
the house
be.
has wires. It has the
It has
Ethernet
organ-
ports.
It'd be funny if it's actually organically threaded into the computer. It's actually a biological creature.
Yeah, yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, all right.
And the ringing in your ear is like a little organic node that gets shot in your ear when you're in the
Or
house.
I mean, well,
and it's
that
wirelessly
honestly, or it could be
attached.
something in the air, like that, and so people are too close, or like a resonance, like that kind of, or an EMF. It gives off an EMF or an electromagnetic pulse that causes the ringing to certain people. Mm-hmm. Like
I think it happens when you're out of the house though as well. For him, he was on the plane and he heard it.
Honestly, that's why I was thinking it might have been some kind of psychic attack. Like it was actually using psychic. It's actually a psychic grass type. It's super effective.
I figured it's honestly a slow burn kind of cordyceps situation.
Oh yeah,
Where it literally shoots something in your ear, which slowly takes over your brain.
Maybe. I mean, well, he wasn't. He did he get the ringing when he first saw it, or he was near the house when he went after? Yeah, okay.
And then he went on the plane, and the ringing was still there, and he had a headache and all that.
So he's already been infected. Just by being still jumping onto the premises,
Pretty much,
he's
yeah.
already been infected.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine.
Yeah. So anyway, it adds to it. So if you've already read the first one,
You might as well keep
yeah.
reading.
Fair. That being said, you didn't say whether you liked it or not.
He said partial recommendation.
No, for Adventures in Babysitting.
The
Does it raise or lower your percentage?
well, the thing is,
Our audience is at the edge of their seats, just like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say?
I need to know.
well, the thing that's interesting is that this lasts 10 days.
Yeah. No,
Sure.
it's about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. That's when this goes on.
Adventures in Babysitting?
Yeah, because it's the first week. She starts Monday, and then she has a weekend between and then the next week she's going to leave. At the end of that next week, she's ready to leave.
So 10 days of babysitting.
Yeah, I guess 10 days. Yeah.
October 11th is the first one. October 31st is the last one. So 20 days.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So almost a month.
That's not 20 days of being there.
Yeah. No, that's
Every entry is a day being there, so it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is riveting.
Shit! Clicked on something wrong. Fuck. That's 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. It's
Only 3 or 4?
Well, because wait, hang on. What's this?
I thought it was way more than 3 or 4.
Oh, frick! There's an ad there, so I assumed the ad was the bottom. 5, 6, 7. All right, about 8 days
okay.
of actually there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that
7 or 8 days.
still sort of fits the timeline because Andrew was there for 10 days.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. If
So it will infect you within 10 days.
Yeah.
So it maintains continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It adds. It builds on it and doesn't plot hole it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that in mind.
Bump it up to 30%, so still have
Okay.
partial recommendation.
So higher partial recommendation. Okay.
It made it more better.
Yeah.
Yay.
And
And if you include the Supernatural Task Force,
Yes. What's that boost up to?
Full.
200%.
Vinny. Yeah. And gamer.
I liked it.
Cool. So, would recommend?
Yeah. The original story's good. Yeah, there's like tiny little problems with it, with people getting some information really quick. Yes, the friends are jerks, but they're redeemable. I don't believe they deserve to die.
Unlike some people.
But yeah, I enjoyed it all the way through. It was a lot of reading, and I foolishly decided to lose track of my days, and over our 2-week period of, hey, read this because it's long, I'm like, oh, I have to record tomorrow. I'll just sit down and read this all day. But I did it. Good for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I
I did get some rather disturbing text messages from you that night.
Yes. Yeah, I was a little out of it. But, yeah, I enjoyed reading all the way through. It wasn't a situation where it's like, oh, God, I have to read 10,000 words.
Yeah.
And I'm not enjoying it. I was enjoying it all the way through.
Yeah.
So it was fun. Yes, it could have ended at the update situation. But I think it also could end at the Adventures of Babysitting as well, because it gives an entirely different perspective of someone else encountering this, proving that it's not just one or two people freaking out. It's actually a thing that someone else not even related to that person has also witnessed.
That's true.
So it could end there as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I found very little wrong with this.
It's not surprising that he became a screenwriter for horror movies afterward.
Yeah, it went really well, and it gave me a good visual all the way through. I don't really have much to complain about, to be honest. So, if I had to give it a percentage, it'd be like 90. There was very little wrong with it. Yeah, I very much recommend it. As long as you are okay with sitting down and reading it, and I recommend not reading it all one day.
Pace yourself, man. It's I did it personally. I think I started last week and did up to this point, and then I was like, oh, there's a lot more. Wait, I got another week to do this. I'm going to take a couple of days and come back.
Good for you. I read up to this point. I'm like, oh god, I need a break. I played an hour of Warfare. I'm like, okay, I need to get back into it now. Yeah. All
right. Well, this was tonight's episode. If you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also leave us a rating and review on iTunes or any other streaming site you can find us on. Help us spread like a virus. You can send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at Mikey is at the East Ends for Evil. I'm at Review Cultist. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W because Twitter hates him.
Just one more freaking letter. What's wrong with you people? Just design your platforms to have 15 letters. Why 14?
You can also check out the title cards for each episode on crazonstudios.tumblr.com, crazon.deviantart.com, or on our YouTube channel, Al Dente Rigor Mortis, where you can check out the videos of each episode. And for and if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier, but any donation helps. We have special episodes and early access. Special episodes include Al Dente Real Talk, where we talk about films that are connected or have some inkling to Creepypasta-style horror. And we have Actual Play Rigor Mortis, where we play tabletop games loosely based in creepypastas or centered around creepypasta-esque horror. So you can check those out. And we also have...
Oh, that's me. Al Dente Reloaded at the $5 tier, where Mikey and I go back to the good, the bad, and the ugly pastas that the cultist and the doctor have done in the past, read them, and see what our thoughts are on them. And Al Dente Revelations at the $2 tier, where Mikey and I continue from there, after listening to the old recordings themselves, and see how our opinions on the stories differ, and possibly have a mind-breaking revelation while doing so.
All right. Until next time, which will be hopefully tomorrow, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And here's to the out with the old year and in with the new year. Sleep well.
And where's the alcohol? We're going to drink before we continue, right?
Yes.
It is the new year.
Absolutely.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most tospa. And most tospa. I almost said tospa.
Tospa. Interesting.
Great start to the Love New Year. 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 The Love New Year.